The best podcast, the Heidelcast.
It's a Heidel minicast. And now, Scott Clark.
A pronoun primer.
If the Heidelcast helps you, won't you help us keep it going? Please make the coffer clink by clicking on the PayPal link or by sending a check to Heidelberg Reformation Association, 1637 East Valley Parkway, number 391, Escondido, California, 92027.
If you get your media, your podcasts, whatever, from YouTube, well, good news, we are there at Heidelcast. It takes a little while to get things uploaded, so you may not get things as quickly as you would through Apple Podcasts or the typical podcast app, but eventually it will get there.
The Heidelcast.
In this episode, number 8, I think, in the Grammar Guerrilla series, I want to talk about pronouns, and really I want to continue the discussion that we were having last time. In another indicator that the West is collapsing, Webster's Dictionary has apparently named they, used to designate a particular non-gendered person, the word of 2019. No, this is 6 years ago, and I don't know where it is now, but that's what happened in 2019. And when I saw that, it made me think, we need a quick refresher on basic grammar. There are two kinds of pronouns, those that stand for one person, the singular, and those that stand for more than one person, the plural. It can be a little more complex than this, but that's the general rule. There are sometimes exceptions. So let me give you some examples. First person singular. I am going to the store. That's the first person singular. Second person singular. You, for example, you are going to the store with me. Third person singular. He, she, or it. I'll use he. He is going to the store after me. Or she is going to the store too. It never fails. When I go to the store, the parking lot is crowded. Now, each one of those is third person singular. There are also plural personal pronouns. Well, the first person plural is we. And in the subject case, it's we. In the object case, it's us. Oh, we went to the store. Second person plural, you. Now, here's an ambiguity because I said you is also singular. Oh, that's just the way English developed. But you all went to the store with him. Third person plural, they. For example, they were late and missed the trip to the store. They is used to stand for a plural subject. Multiple people are implied in they. So I, you, he, she, and it are all singular, with the caveat that you can be second person plural. One person at a time is implied. Now, obviously, as I say, there's ambiguity with you because it can be singular or plural, and that's determined by the context. We, however, is unambiguously plural. They was, until very recently, also unambiguously plural. The standard reference work on the English language, right, perhaps the greatest reference work of all time, the Oxford English Dictionary, reports that the first usage of they to refer to a non-gendered singular subject dates to the first Obama administration in 2009. The first definition given in the Oxford English Dictionary for they reads, and I quote, the subjective case of the third person plural pronoun, the plural of he, she, or it. And it's been used that way since circa 1175 in Middle English, which is post 1066. The first use recorded in the Oxford English Dictionary. The entry records a sentence from the State Papers of Henry VIII from 1537 using they to refer to a plural subject. I'm aware of the claim that the non-gendered use of they for the singular subject occurred in the 16th century. I'd like to see the evidence for that. They has long been used for collective singular subjects, for example, a group treated as a unit, and this usage dates to the late 14th century. And in the OED, you see a usage from 1548. In that case, they referred not to an ungendered singular person, but to a collective singular.
Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Clark.
The OED does give a usage that is similar, but not identical to the usage that appeared in 2009. Some of the instances quoted seem to be closer to the collective singular. In that entry, to which I'm referring, some of the instances quoted seem to be closer to the collective singular than to a non-gendered individual. For example, from 1877, I quote, "I am never angry with anybody unless they deserve it," close quote. But this is a class of people, not a particular individual. Other uses given under this heading are attempts to avoid using he generically. Second, there's a difference between not specifying the grammatical gender of the subject or object because it's immaterial and requiring the speaker or writer to apply the plural pronoun when there is plainly a single individual before him. This is the generic use of the masculine pronoun, by the way. The three instances given in the Oxford Dictionary that unambiguously use they to refer to non-gendered individuals come from 2009, 2013, and 2019. So it shouldn't surprise anyone that the first use occurred on Twitter, now known as X, that engine of social and linguistic destruction. Some of it comes from the application of grammatical categories, as we were talking about last time, to human sexuality. With the exception of a tiny number of persons, human beings belong to one of two biological sexes. Human beings don't have a gender, biologically speaking. As I said last time, gender is a grammatical category which can be relatively arbitrary. For example, applying feminine pronouns to ships. But it's not always so. We recognize the male sex with masculine pronouns and the female sex with feminine pronouns. There are no neuter persons. We have a singular, non-gendered pronoun, it. Why they instead of it?
Heidelcast.
The late modern, non-gendered use of they in place of the singular pronoun is political, ungrammatical, unclear, and unnecessary. They is coming for dinner is nonsense, right? Think of this. Joe says, they're coming over. Mary says, who? Joe says, they. Mary. Who are they? Joe. Patricia. Mary. Who else is coming? Joe. Just Patricia. Well, this is, right, who's on first? It's a recipe for endless confusion. Grammatically, in this case, the clearest pronoun is she. To use they is obnoxious. Pronouns are not a matter of mere preference. They're not arbitrary. There's a genuine relation between the sign he and the thing signified, which is Joe. So in that sense, we don't choose pronouns. We're born with them. They are related to the nature of things, to the way things are in nature. We talk about physicians assigning gender. Well, that's crazy. That doesn't happen. I was in the room when my children were born, and the doctor didn't say, I'm going to arbitrarily assign female to this child. No, the doctor looked at the child and said, female. Right? Or the doctor looks at a child and says, male. That's how it works. There's no assigning of anything. There's just recognition of what is, that is, what's in nature. The function of a personal pronoun is to relieve the writer or speaker from having to repeat the proper name of the subject or the object. And I see this in student essays all the time because they're so worried about offending somebody by using the wrong pronoun, they just don't use pronouns anymore. And they repeat the name of the subject over and over and over again, which is tedious and obnoxious. Joe went to the store. Then Joe went to the dentist. After that, Joe went to the gym, right? It's ungainly, but as I say, they do it as an alternative to abusing they. This is what will happen if the revolutionaries are allowed to force us all to speak or write nonsense. The attempt to revolutionize the language by force, for example, government agencies punishing people for refusing to use preferred pronouns, even when the pronouns make no sense, demonstrates how weak is the case for their use. The revolutionaries have not made the case for their use or for why we should abandon nearly a millennium of usage. They could not make that case, so they resorted to the power of unelected little Soviets. Those are the councils that terrorized the Russians and countless others under communism in blue cities and on university campuses to achieve their desired outcome. So, listener, you might be tempted to throw up your hands, but this argument is really, as I said last time, a proxy for the argument about the existence of givenness. Nature. To the degree that's true, the debate is not really about grammar. The debate ultimately is about nature and nature's God.
Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow for more from the Heidelcast, brought to you by Heidelberg Reformation Association.org. Don't forget, when the coin in the coffer clinks, the cost of bandwidth shrinks. Copyright Heidelberg Reformation Association. All rights reserved. This is a Heidel Media production.
For this podcast, the Heidelcast.